Peter Valley, FBAmaster.com here. You guys, in this video, I'm going to cover minimum profit standards. I'm going to settle the question about what is the minimum profit standards you should maintain when you're reselling products on Amazon. So what I'm going to teach you is called the rule of threes. I think I've only talked about this maybe like once before in like a blog post, never on YouTube. The rule of threes is essentially a bulletproof formula that essentially eliminates the risk of you ever losing money on Amazon. This is something I've followed the rule of threes for going back, I think probably like 12 years. And every once in a while, I like put it up for review. I'm like, should I modify this? And it served me so well. The answer is always no. I've not tweaked the rule of threes in over a dozen years at this point. It's going to serve you well, and it's really easy to memorize. So let's get into it. Here's what we're going to cover. The 2 reasons you need minimum profit standards when you're reselling on Amazon. This is not negotiable. You really have to have this. Number 2, again, the rule of threes. Number 3, the exceptions to the rule of threes. And there's other couple, so I want to make sure I'm clear about that. So here are the questions we're going to answer in this video. Number 1, how do you decide what your minimum payout should be when you're reselling products on Amazon? Number 2, how do you know when you should avoid listing something for sale at all because the profits are too low? And number 3, what are some simple rules, like a framework you can follow so you never have to think about this subject again and just go basically on autopilot? That's what we're going to teach you. And there's actually 2 reasons you need a formula. You need minimum profit standards when you're reselling products on Amazon. Number 1, maybe you've heard me say this before. It's one of the most powerful things I've ever learned when it comes to selling on Amazon, which is that you make your money when you buy. Meaning if you make an intelligent buying decision up front, then it's a foregone conclusion that you're not going to lose money. And again, you can lose money on individual items now and then, but you're never going to lose money as a whole. Okay, the reason number 2 you need minimum, firm, clear profit standards is that you eliminate all the guesswork that goes into buying and increase your sourcing speed dramatically. Now imagine if you had to stop, some of you are actually doing this right now. Imagine if you had to stop for every single item before you purchased it and you're like, should I buy this or should I pass on it? You're like looking at the the payout and the net profit and you're like, and you had to make a decision for every item. That's completely inefficient, totally unsustainable. We're going to ensure that you never have to do that again. And a lot of you might be watching this and you're like, oh, well, my scanning app triggers just I just outsource my thinking to the scanning app triggers. I'm not going to get in the whole conversation about my opinions about triggers. But again, there are scenarios where your triggers are going to fail you. For example, if you are at an environment where your buy cost from item to item is different, it's not a flat cost per, in this case, we're going to talk about books, not a flat cost per book. What do? Right? You can't just be programming in your buy cost into every single time you scan an item. That's totally ridiculous, right? So you need to have clear buying standards separate from your scanning app triggers and just set this whole thing on autopilot so you never have to think about it again. Okay, guys, so here we go. You ready? The rule of threes. But before we do that, let's get this business out of the way. My name is Peter Valley. I've been selling on Amazon for about 15 years at this point. I'm a super uncool web guy to the website FBAmaster.com. And everything I'm teaching you here, honestly, I probably stole from somebody else. I don't always remember where I get the things I get. I just remember I learned this years ago, this rule of threes, and I probably stole it from somebody, so full disclaimer. I gotta mention, you can build a whole business off of what I give away for free at FBAmaster.com. I'm gonna post a link below. You can get everything you see here. It's over 600 pages of free stuff entirely for free at FBAmaster.com. Also, subscribe and like the YouTube channel. Actually, just subscribe. Let's just start there. If you don't subscribe, I'm gonna come to your house. I'm going to take all your paintings on the walls, all your artwork, and I'm going to move them like 10 degrees off center. So you're just going to be completely disoriented. You're probably going to have seizures, and you can avoid this by subscribing to the YouTube channel immediately. Just do it right now. Hit the button below. Also, if you sell on Amazon, you need a repricer. I built the best one, the first repricer with no data blind spots, neuroprice.io, 14-day free trial. Get that immediately. And lastly, I have an article version of this video that goes a little more in depth than I'm able to in this video. FBAmaster.com. Also posted a link below. Okay, guys, are you ready? The rule of threes. Here we go. There's 2 pillars to this. Pillar 1 of the rule of threes is setting a minimum ROI, I'll explain what that means in a second if you don't know, of 3x. What this means is for every $1 you put in, for every $1 you spend on an item of inventory, you should be expecting $3 back. Now, I'm focusing specifically on books here. The same basic principles would apply to anything you're selling on Amazon, okay? So ROI stands for return on investment. Put $1 in, you expect $3 back. Doesn't mean you're gonna get $3 back, always. Setting that standard creates a big enough buffer that you're never gonna lose money, okay? Pillar number 2 of the rule of threes is setting a minimum payout of $3, meaning you will not sell anything on Amazon unless your scanning app tells you you're going to get a payout, meaning the money Amazon puts in your bank account, of $3 at the bare minimum. Okay, now this is pretty simple. This should be clicking for you, but I'm going to explain each of these 2 things in more detail right now. So let's go start with part 1, the ROI part, return on your investment. Again, for every $1 you put in, you should expect $3 back. Meaning if you have a book and it's costing you $2, your payout, the payout displayed in your scanning app should be a minimum of $6. If you got a book that costs you $1, you need a minimum payout of $3. You got a book that's costing you $5, minimum payout of $15. Making sense? So that's pretty straightforward. Pillar number 2 is the minimum payout. Now, I would consider this one to be slightly more subjective. So I wouldn't necessarily say you need to follow this to the letter. It's kind of a question of really two things. Number one, ask yourself, what is your time worth? In other words, for some of you, you're like, I'm not going to accept a book in my inventory unless I'm going to make at least a $5 payout or a $6 payout or whatever the case may be, right? Some of you, it may be $2. Some of you, it may actually be $1. And you have to decide, like, what is your time worth? And the other question, which I think is actually a bigger one that gets overlooked a lot in these discussions, is what is the payout that will keep you excited about this business? Now, it seems kind of weird, but I want you to think about a business you're running where, let's say you wake up and you sold 30 items overnight. Okay, so you're like, oh, awesome, I sold 30 items. But what if each of those items only got you, a $1 payout each? Is that a business that would like keep you motivated? We don't want you to like lose interest in the business, right? You want to stay motivated. And I think it's really important to be getting validation for the hard work you put in your business and the hard work it takes to acquire Amazon inventory by being sufficiently rewarded when it comes to getting sales and your payout. So if the thought of getting a $2 payout on an item kind of makes you go, ugh, I mean, I guess $2 is $2, but that's not very exciting, then you never want to have a minimum payout of $2. For me, it's $3. And honestly, I've had the $3 minimum payout since like a time when $3 is probably worth what $4 is now. So maybe I should think about adjusting that. But $3 is where I'm comfortable to this day. Some of you may be $4, and again, it may be north. Whatever it takes to keep you excited, that should be your minimum. So let's give you a couple examples. So this is crystal clear. Okay, so let's say you got a book, and it costs you 50 cents, and the selling price is $10. And you're an FBA seller, and which means the payout is about $2. Should you buy this book or pass on it? Well, it should be obvious you should pass on it because, again, even though you are 4xing your returns, payout's only $2, which is lower than $3. So according to the rule of threes, this would not meet the standards. You should pass on this book. Another example, if you got a book, let's say it cost you $5, and let's say it was listing for $20. But again, at $20, FBA, maybe it's a slightly larger book, your payout's only $9.10. You buy or pass on it? You should pass on it because even though your payout is way north of $3, ROI is under that. It's actually under 2x. So you should pass on it for that reason. Example number 3, you got a book, cost you $1, selling price is $12, the payout's $3.10. You're going to buy this book because, again, you're just above the $3 minimum profit threshold. So according to the rule of threes, you would buy this book. Last example, you got a book, cost you $4, selling price is $20, payout's $12.50. You should also buy this book because you just barely eke out a 3x ROI, which would make it, according to the rule of threes, a good purchase. So what are the exceptions? Okay, so now you got this. You got this rule of three down, right? It's very simple. Are there exceptions? Actually, yes, there are some exceptions. Okay, exception number 1, when is it okay to actually go below these standards? In other words, accept a lower ROI or a lower payout. So here's what I do. I actually will break the rule of three sometimes. And one is I will accept lower returns if I am confident that the payout is both imminent and very, very quick. In other words, getting a sale for that item will happen very, very quickly, and making a profit on the item is imminent. What specifically I mean by this is if the item is in very, very high demand. So let's say I've got a book and, it's maybe I paid 50 cents for it, and FBA I can sell for $12 and I'll get, or $11 or whatever, and I get like a $2.20 payout. Okay. If the book is ranked 10,000, depending on my mood, I might buy it because I know I've already got it in my hand. I've already done the work. All I have to do is just like throw it in the cart. And I know that $2 is as good as mine because, again, the rank's 10,000, it's selling multiple copies a day. So getting a sale is imminent and it will happen quickly. Probably not going to go below the $2, but I will reduce my standards at least that much if I think the sale is fast and imminent. Okay, number 2, and here's an example. So I basically just went through this. Okay, exception number 2, when should you raise your payout standards? When should your standards actually be higher than 3x returns or higher than a $3 payout? So kind of the flip side is if the sales rank is poor. So if you've got a really item that's like not selling very often, I'm not going to accept a $3 payout for the item. If it's ranked like 4 million, it's just not going to happen. My risk is too great because, again, this item's not selling very often. The price could tank. Bad things could happen. I need to be compensated for my risk. Think of sales rank as basically another way of measuring risk. If the risk is increased, you need to be adequately compensated for that risk. So here's an example. You got a book, let's say the sales rank, like I said, is 4 million. You bought it for $1, the listing price is $12. Your payout's gonna be $3.57. Should you buy it? I would not. Because again, even though it meets the rule of threes thresholds, I'm not going to buy it because the sales rank's 4 million. I don't know when it's going to sell again. The price could tank, and the risk is just too great. I'm not being adequately compensated for my risk, so I need more than $3. With a rank like 4 million, I probably need a payout of like $10 or more. I don't really have like firm rules. I just kind of on a whim will be like, okay, it's very arbitrary, but yeah, probably minimum $10 payout. I would say if a book is ranked 4 million, right? I need to be compensated for my risk. Another example, you get a book, the rank is 6 million, so it's a worse rank, and I'm buying it for the same price, but the listing price is $50, and my payout is going to be $33. So even though the rank is worse than the previous example, I'm definitely going to buy this book because I'm being compensated for my risk. I'm going to be compensated in the form of $33, which is a lot more than $3. So yes, I will purchase a book like this all day long. Okay, so I want you to take it in. I seriously want you to write this down, okay? Because this is important stuff. Rule of threes is, again, is as follows: minimum ROI 3x, minimum payout $3. The rule of threes is, we're not done yet, by the way, but the rule of threes is literally your savior. It's been my savior over the years. Okay, you guys, I have a 4-part mission for you now. Are you ready? Mission number one. Mission number one, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I already warned you I will come to your house and I will do significant minor damage to your property in the form of tilting all your artwork 10 degrees off center. It will drive you insane. Do not risk it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel immediately. Number two, get all the free stuff you see here. You can build a whole business off of what I give away for free at FBA Master. There's a link below this video. It would actually be clinically insane if you did not take me up on this and download over 600 pages of free stuff right now. Mission number three, you need an Amazon repricing tool. I have the best one. It is the first repricer in the world with no data blind spots. If you don't know, if you haven't gotten the news about this, go to neuroprice.io. There's also a link below this video in the description. And just click on the little link at the top that says why NeuroPrice is the best. And your mind will be blown at what NeuroPrice can do that other repricers simply cannot do. Mission number four, take what you learned in this video and actually apply it to your business. This is the most important part, most important step of all. Take what you learned and actually put it into practice, okay? Otherwise, your time here has been wasted. The rule of threes is extremely valuable. Thank you guys so much. This is Peter Valley signing off, and I'll see you in the next video.